Hello, dear World of Warcraft friends. Do you remember when people used to tell you to stop playing on the computer all the time, that it wouldn't get you anywhere in life? I had to hear that sentence a few times in my youth, and to be fair, it wasn't entirely wrong. But now that sentence is completely turned on its head because there's an American university where you can get scholarships if you're good at World of Warcraft. It might not be entirely relevant for us, but in the end, whoever is good at WoW gets free education or at least has their education subsidized. And that's something where you can really save five-figure sums. What this is all about, we'll take a look at in this video. I think it's a really interesting topic, at least, and with that, let's get started right away. Leave a like, subscribe for more. This is about the University of Silicon Valley. Yeah. All in all, to be honest, I've never really heard of it before, but I also don't live in the US. And as you can see here, you can get up to $15,000 per year through this Max Achievement Scholarship. That's ultimately what it's all about. They say here, and honestly, I think that's pretty cool, that at the university, they believe mastery can take many different forms. And they want to honor students or pupils who have shown great perseverance, systematic thinking, cognitive skills, and so on, even in digital worlds. All in all, you can see it here. The whole thing is divided into different tiers. And in the end, you can rake in different amounts of cash with it. You can see here, there's a legendary tier, which lets you get up to $5,000 per term, so I think that's per semester, and a maximum of 3 terms per year. Here it says as a criterion, super difficult achievements that require more than 500 plus hours spent with complex systems. So typically it says here, under a 1% global completion rate, and then there's the mastery tier. That gives you $2,500 per term, so all in all, still a pretty decent deal. Well, all these requirements here don't really matter to us. So I went ahead and checked what kind of costs you might be facing. And we can see here that, well, there are also things like apartments added to that. You sometimes have to expect to pay about $7,100 per term, plus $500 for the technology fee. But here we see the crucial part. The tuition, meaning just the fees to be able to study there, is apparently about $22,000 per year, with everything included. That means if you fulfill one of these legendary achievements, you can save about 75% of the costs, maybe a little less there, and I think that's already a pretty good thing. Of course, I had to Google this, right? Put together for us by AI. Here they figure that with everything included, you have to pay up to $50,000 per year for your studies. That's still a lot of cash, but in the end, I don't know. Let's say you study for 3 or 4 years. If you can save $45,000 or $60,000, that's already a huge amount. And now, of course, we're asking ourselves the question, who would actually manage to get such a scholarship there? So would you get that with your achievements in World of Warcraft as well? And for that, let's take a look at the requirements here. All in all, there are various games included. RuneScape, Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft, Elder Scrolls, Guild Wars 2, and Warframe. So all in all, more or less, yes, all of them are online games. In the end, I can't say much about the other games because I've never played them and I don't know how difficult they are. But for World of Warcraft, to get the maximum amount, you need the Lore Master achievement. All 13 professions at max and 25 plus factions at Exalted. And I'll be honest with you, that doesn't sound all that bad. Well, I don't know if that's more of a negative or a positive for me, but I'd say Lore Master, I guess. Is that doable? With a lot of dedication, what I mean is It's not necessarily skill-based, but if you just have a lot of time and, yeah, bring dedication, you can do it. So it's not, I don't know, like being one of the top 2 PvP players for 17 years. So Lore Master just requires a lot of time. Reputation factions. So I never actively farmed reputation anywhere, but I still reached 93 factions. So we definitely would have smashed that. And with the professions, all at max level, well, I have to say professions don't really interest me at all, but at least I have herbalism, alchemy, cooking. So I'll put it this way. That's something you can manage too. Especially since you can speed up quite a bit here with gold in some cases. Don't get me wrong. Anyone with all this, especially all the professions, at max level, that's already quite an achievement in itself. But I would say that for someone who really wants it, these are manageable requirements. And then we see here for the mastery tier, so for that there's a bit less money. World of Warcraft Keystone Master, all dungeons at plus 20 in the current season, is checked via Raider.io. And I think they still have the wrong metrics in there because plus 20 was last in Dragonflight, so you would just need to have 2,500 rating here. So, and if you take a look now, I have here 3.4K, 3.4K, 3.2, 2.93K. I would have met the requirements with every character. That means I could at least apply for this smaller scholarship where you still get almost $10,000 a year on top. So all in all, it might not really do much for us now, you know, since we live here in Germany, but the fact that something like this exists and that PC games aren't just seen as a waste of time, but that they can actually help you with your education. I think that's a really cool thing. And yeah, what's your opinion on this? Feel free to write it in the comments. With that, thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video, and take care.